there's some guys that just defy breakdown. Luka defies a breakdown. Like, what is his scouting report?
Yeah.
Jalen Brunson, by the way, like I've watched him over the last 2 years. I played with Jalen. I knew he was good. I did not know he was going to be this good.
Yeah.
Jalen Brunson just shut the lights out on the Detroit Pistons with a remarkable Game 6 outing. He averaged 31.5 points over the entire series, which has a lot of people wondering just how good he is right now. His play throughout this series had a lot of people calling foul play for his foul drawing antics, but is Brunson really just grifting his way to easy points, or is there something unique about his game that makes him one of the most skilled scorers we've ever seen? There are many things that make Brunson so gifted as a scorer, and all of them were on display in this series. The Pistons used Ausar Thompson as the primary defender on him throughout this series, a long, twitchy defender that posed some problems for JB because of his size and physicality. You can see on this play that Ausar has his arms wrapped around Brunson here as they fight off the ball, and this was a common theme throughout the series, where Detroit made sure a body was on, and I mean literally on, Brunson at all times, so it's no surprise that his efficiency took a dip in this series, and that he had to sell a lot of plays to get foul calls. You can argue about the ethicality of some of these plays, but Brunson often throws his head back to draw attention to physicality. Other times he'll just fall to the ground, which is probably what the Pistons were more upset about in this series. But from what I saw, a majority of these plays were fouls that, if not exaggerated, might not have been called at all, like this hand check from Malik Beasley. Ausar sticks out his knee here to intentionally impede Brunson's progress, so he pretends to go flying so the foul is called. Now, I'm in no way saying all of these foul calls were legit. The NBA supposedly banned this jumping into a defender move years ago, yet on multiple occasions, Jalen got away with what should have been an offensive foul. And there were a few times where Brunson pushed off or grabbed defenders off arms and pulled it in closer to accentuate contact. And to no one's surprise, his 9 free throws a game in this series ranked 4th in the league. But the uncomfortable truth is that foul baiting is also an art that not only requires a strong feel for what undisciplined defense looks like, but an overall offensive skill that demands extra defensive attention to even stop. Let's start with his subtle tactics. He plays in the post quite a bit for a guard, but he also matches physicality. Malik Beasley tries to bump him here, so a spin move from JB gets him off balance and Brunson can get to the floater with ease. This is the natural defensive response, to fight physicality with physicality. But when you combine that physicality with a twitchy finesse game, it makes guarding Brunson borderline unstoppable. This is probably my favorite play from the entire series, where Brunson sees Schroeder picking him up in transition and immediately backs him down in the post. And you can see Dennis literally begging for help from a teammate, but it arrives too late and the Knicks get a good look at a 3. Of course, he also likes to sell calls in this spot too, and he's savvy, or maybe sneaky, with how he uses his elbow to hook defenders and get around them in these spots. You can see it again on this play, where he subtly holds Tobias Harris's leg, which allows him to turn the corner and get to the soft floater in the paint. Despite being listed at only 6'2", it's amazing how often Brunson is able to power through contact from players his size or bigger, rarely getting driven off his route, which allows for him to get to almost any spot on the floor. This is a common skill set most of history's best scorers possess. Despite being tossed and held like a sumo wrestler, Brunson's ability to get past the first wave of defense and using his body as a shield did wonders for his shot selection. But being the only legit ball handler on this team meant that the Pistons' aggressiveness on ball screens took a toll on JB's body. So in games 2 and 3, the Knicks had Brunson play off the ball more in hopes of getting him easier looks. Coach Tibbs even busted out this old Warriors Cyclone play that is meant to punish teams that stay too attached to Brunson on screening actions. And by doing this and letting him flow into on-ball actions, it's harder for the defense to stay attached to him. And it made it much easier for him to get to his mid-range pull-up, which is the next part of JB's game that is so potent. Brunson shot an impressive 45% from there in the regular season, and going back to his ability to get to this shot from anywhere on the floor is a big reason why Brunson rarely has low-scoring playoff games. He has a handle blessed by the basketball gods, and he loves this in and out dribble to get defenders off balance and open up more space. JJ Redick actually talked about this in an interview last year.
Jalen Brunson, it's like, is there an answer for him? Because he can score going right. He can score going left. He can shoot threes off the dribble. Yep. He can shoot, catch, and shoot. What makes Jalen so good, going back to that, he's got a lot of those qualities, right? I don't think he's the fastest guy. Yeah. Certainly not a vertical athlete.
Yeah.
He's always on balance.
Yeah.
He does everything, every trick, the footwork, the body shifts, the handle. He does everything to get you off balance, also, but he's never off balance.
And because JB's driving game is also so effective, his pull-ups and step-backs also simulate these same movements. This could be a pull-up, so Schroeder reacts accordingly, and Brunson can just power through him for another easy floater. In Game 6, we saw a lot of this. Brunson drained an early pull-up 3 in transition right in front of Dennis Schroeder. Of course, Cade Cunningham saw this, so later on in the game in the same situation, he anticipates a pull-up 3 from Brunson, but instead it's a wicked in and out dribble that gets JB downhill for free throws. Of course, Brunson's footwork is what makes a lot of these shots possible to get off. It requires a special level of balance and coordination to even facilitate quality shots for yourself as the smallest guy on the court. And his ability to turn over either shoulder makes his back to the basket game tier 1. Brunson is one of the few players I can confidently say has a counter for every single defensive look. You can't force him over screens because of his pull-up midi. You can't send help or overload to his side because he has dazzling vision to find open teammates. And as Detroit learned in Game 6, you cannot ice ball screens because Brunson is comfortable scoring from the baseline as well. Schroeder tries to prevent JB from getting to the middle of the floor, and with a defender in drop taking away the paint, the only shot available here is a small sliver near the baseline, which Brunson gladly takes and makes. And because the Knicks lack any reliable self-creators, Brunson's ability to score or create for teammates from anywhere on the floor is a big reason why the Knicks' offensive rating with him on the floor in this series was an impressive 116, even with his shot selection looking like a young Allen Iverson redux. In Game 6, the Pistons tried soft hedging to give Ausar Thompson time to recover and navigate screens, but like any strategy, it has its weaknesses and is susceptible to pull-up three-point shooting, since it briefly leaves the ball handler open as the defense sprints to recover, which Brunson masterfully exploited. Of course, we know scoring isn't everything in basketball. You have to be able to create for others as well, especially when you're the center of attention, and Brunson did just that. He averaged just over 8 assists in this series, but what stood out to me was his ability to find open players while still probing for scoring opportunities. 2 defenders go flying to defend his mid-range jumper, so he goes up and under and adds a no-look pass to the cutting Bridges as icing on the cake. Watch how all 5 Pistons players are staring at Brunson on this play. He draws that much attention, and it opens up cutting opportunities for teammates. And this takes us back to Game 6, which was the perfect culmination of all of his skill sets. Brunson's wickedly tight crossover into a pull-up midi buckles Ausar Thompson, who is known for having insane recovery skills. The space he creates on even the best of defenders is remarkable, whether on the perimeter or in the post. But if you remember from earlier in the game, the Knicks like to run this curl action for Brunson to receive a DHO. And so later on in the game, they ran the same play, and this time Schroeder is on top of it, so Brunson just backdoors him, cuts into open space, and draws a foul.
What more do you want from me?
JB took the game over in the final minutes of the fourth, banking in this ridiculous and one leaner while falling down. And if you watch it closely, Brunson leans in with his shoulder to create space here, accentuating Schroeder's illegal positioning like we discussed earlier. And after JB's incredible display of footwork and balance on the following possession that we showcased earlier, we are treated to this beauty of a final play where Brunson's insane stop on a dime crossover absolutely bakes Asar Thompson, and well,
Launches! Oh yeah! Jalen Brunson buries it!
you know what happened. Despite the notable dip in efficiency, Brunson still did a phenomenal job dicing up this feisty Pistons defense with tactical precision and crafty manipulation. You can hate on it all you want, but what's undeniable is that JB is one of the most skilled small guards we've ever seen, and is also one of the best playoff performers to ever touch a basketball. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you've made it to the end, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. In the comments, let me know where you would rank Jalen Brunson in the league right now as a scorer. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.